We'll begin game one, A&M Mississippi State, yesterday. It was ugly. 13-run third. I mean, is there something stronger than, baseball always say they put up a crooked number in the inning? Is there something crookeder than crooked? It was fascinating because it happened. Ethan Darden started, and he was clean through the first two. He did not get an out in that third. The story was Gavin Lyons has been really good for you, and he hasn't the last three appearances. Last night was especially horrific. He got an out, but 4 hits, a walk, 5 runs. It was bad. Grant Cunningham got an out, but 5 hits, 5 runs. Remember, 13 runs in an inning took a whole lot of bad. 13 runs. The Gavin Lyons appearance might be the most disconcerting thing. I mean, you'd think a 13 spot in an inning, there'd be no second play. No. We know the pitching staff is hurting. We know the pitching staff is tired as part of it. So few arms you can count on. Earley hasn't been able to, manage the usage. He's just had to coach out of desperation when using his arms. I'm sure there's some guys that are just tired right now. It's just that point of the year. A lot of them have pitched more innings than they ever have before. But this is not just Lyons had a bad day. It's 3 straight because both appearances against Auburn, he wasn't very good. And there's been only 2 people all year in the pen with any consistency on SEC weekends. Fresh Corn, who's basically an All-American, and Lyons. And he was awful yesterday. Cunningham was supposed to be one of the, we've talked about this. There were supposed to be 5 arms that made up your SEC weekend, which would be phenomenal depth, and everything would be completely different. And it's Fresh Corn, Stuart McCoy, who are both hurt, and Vargas Cunningham. And Cunningham had like a 2-week stretch, and that's the entirety of a season. And still not sure what happened to Vargas. Once we got past the non-con, Vargas has been a non-factor. He did throw a third of an inning and gave up an unearned run on a walk. But Vargas and Cunningham, it's never come together. Stuart McCoy hurt. Fresh Corn's the only one of those 5. Lyons would probably be a starter if your bullpen worked out the way you planned. It is very desperation times at this point with A&M pitching staff. 18 hits. Okay, 18 runs on 16 hits. And remember, 13 in an inning. A&M scored 11 runs themselves. I want to sit there, and they did it. Yesterday, we were talking about this Friday night start of Valencia's for them. And how, D1 baseball has him as one of the top 5 in all of D1 baseball. So he's not just another SEC Friday night starter. He's one of the top pitchers in baseball. And the Aggies, okay, if they didn't have a big lead when they left him, none of it matters. They hit 2 home runs off of him, basically doubling a season total. I mean, they hit him offense, which kind of had a weak weekend against Auburn. They put out 11. I had to go back and look because I've been talking about it. Now we've had every Friday night series. A&M ended up 4-6 in game 1s. Because remember, some are on Thursdays, some have been on Saturdays, some are part of doubleheaders. And to be honest and fair with you, if you think about, 5 home, 5 road, the other team has Friday night aces too. I almost think in a league that's going to have half of its team somewhere in the top 15, going 5-5 on Fridays would be the norm. Even if you're an Omaha team, because Friday nights in the SEC, pure hand-to-hand combat level. everybody's going to be elite. So the Aggies actually on the Friday nights are like 4-6. They're just a game off of what you would hope. And everything in the positive, 6-4, 7-3, equals top 5 team in the country levels because it's Friday night in the SEC. Here's the part that's so disturbing. The amount of runs that they've allowed, last night was 18, but they've given up 11, 18, 14, 8, 9, 8, and 9. And some of that's in wins. But the Aggies have been so bad in these game ones. The pitching. It is amazing and astonishing how bad. Game 1, Oklahoma, 7 runs scored and loss. That means they gave up 9. Game 1, Georgia, 9 runs allowed. Game 1, Vanderbilt, 14 runs allowed. Game 1, Auburn, 18 runs allowed. Game 1, Mississippi State, 18 runs allowed. So 4-6, which, again, you're going to be a top 10 team. At Friday night's SEC. That's the reality check. I almost wouldn't be stunned if almost everyone's like plus or minus 5-5. But how actually bad the A&M pitching's been on Friday is astonishing. 18, 11, 14, 8, 8, 9, 9 in game ones. That's the Aggies have basically been behind even in wins, they've given up so many runs, behind the 8 ball so consistently. Yet, they're a top 15 team that's probably going to end up as like the 11 seed in the NCAA tournament. I want you to think about that. That's a testament to how absolutely incredible the A&M offense is, that they have been able to overcome this. And that's all that's in play. So game 2 is tonight. You just got to spit on it and move on. After the game last night, and we're going to do a listen-in about 5 minutes. Michael Earley, Gavin Grahovic met with the media after. We're going to hear what they both said. Coach Earley expects, he said he had to consult with the staff still, but expects that it'll be Weston Moss. And you just got to move on. Goal no one wants to talk about was don't get swept because you don't know how far you could slide. Could you open up losing your regional? I doubt it. That's a single-digit %. That's so not in play. But if you get swept, you can make it a conversation point. But so win your 1, men. Winning 2 was to be a top 8. Don't win 2, and then you have to make, I think, an unrealistic run in Hoover toast. So if you want to keep the national hosting, the national seed alive, you got to win tonight. And Moss will get the start. Couple of notes I want to share with you, Aggie Baseball. Braden Shoemake was at the game. Richard Zane, Texags, reported that. Very cool. And he played in the Astros game earlier in the day, in which they lost to Seattle, lost 3 out of 4 to Seattle. But Braden Shoemake has had a phenomenal start with the Astros. He really, 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 really has. He's been really nice for them. Had a couple of hits in the game against Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, too. And then he was at the game. I thought that was cool. 3 Aggies got picked as semifinalists for the Dick Hauser Trophy. And that is the Dick Hauser Trophy. It's one of those Players of the Year awards. Top player in college baseball. And it's selected by the National Collegiate Baseball Writers of Association. The 3 Aggies, Gavin Grahovic, Caden Sorrell. Third one, I'm going to let you guess. Aiden Sims. Great to see him getting the recognition. 2 Aggies got picked as semifinalists for the Golden Spike Awards. Gavin Grahovic, Caden Sorrell. You can fan vote as part of the Golden Spike Awards. You can fan vote. GoldenSpikeAwards.com. Golden Spikes Awards. There's no S at award. GoldenSpikesAward.com. So you can go fan vote in that. For Gavin Grahovic, Caden Sorrell, both Golden Spikes Awards semifinalists. USA Baseball announced it. And that is another player of the year. There's two of them, but most outstanding amateur baseball player is Golden Spikes. And you can vote goldenspikesaward.com. So there was good news. There's a lot of great things going on. It's just the injuries, lack of pitching development, and maybe we just have to be honest with each other at some point, right? The recruiting bus in the pitching portal. Injuries pitching, recruiting bus pitching portal. It just might be too much. Now, get to the regional, face a different team, pitcher effectiveness versus seeing a pitcher for the second or third time. The most concerning thing of the whole storyline, what is going on with Lions, who 3 straight appearances now has not been good. That concerns me. When we come back, up next, we'll listen in. Michael Earley, Gavin Grohovic spoke with the media after the game. We'll hear what they had to say. This is the Louis Bolina Show presented by CC Electric, Friday on The Zone.
Can't reach your radio? Listen to Aggie Baseball online at radioaggieland.com.
Time now, listen in. Michael Earley, Aggie Baseball head coach. Boy, loss seems like too light of a word, but they did lose to Mississippi State last night.
Kevin, how do you coach 13-run top of the third inning? So from your vantage point, what seemed to be the issue? What went wrong, and why were so many arms ineffective there?
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anything like that before. So it was a lot went wrong. I mean, we start off the inning, I think, a play that you got to make. If you're playing middle infield in the SEC, it's just a play that has to be made. And then fast forward to that, okay, the play doesn't get made, and then a bunt that we don't get an out, right? And those two things can change the course of the whole inning. Now, that being said, like, you still, that amount of runs, I don't care if they're getting hits, whatever, like, you just can't, I mean, you're never going to, I mean, we did a good job fighting back. You're not going to win a baseball game if you give up that many hits and that many runs.
I know after you went with Darden last week, you went today. Tonight you went Lions. Was that a little matter of having arms available this week? What was the decision process in going?
I mean, Gavin's been our guy, him and Fresh out of the pen all year. So again, like I said before, it wasn't like just an automatic to go to Shane. It was a situation where, you know, traffic on, you know, wind's blowing out. Gavin tends to keep the ball on the ground. Like, we thought, you know, he thought he had a really good chance to limit damage, and you know, they hit one decent, they got a couple through, and then that's just baseball. They hit it low like we thought they would. They just happened to not hit it to people.
You know, what do you tell your team after a game like this?
Yeah, there's a lot of different messages you can give. Like, number one, just as like a competitor, from the standpoint of, like, I don't know how many hits it was in the inning, but it felt like a lot, like double digit. Like, there's a competitive nature. Like, you're trying to throw strikes, you're trying to fill it up, but at some point you have to compete and just will yourself to get people out. Like, there's that part of it. The other part of it too is, like, we have a really good offense and, you know, favorable conditions, and you never know what's going to happen, and we still continue to not make plays, right? So, like, the game looked out of hand, and then I think we had a pass ball that scored a run, we had an error short, that type of stuff. Like, if you're good, you're good. So if you make plays, you make plays. It doesn't matter, and you keep playing. And I've been a part of plenty of games in this park, those conditions, where you just keep playing, you make plays, and you never know what can happen. And I felt good about where we were at, you know, with their starter. Like, that guy's freaking really good, and we did a really good job with him. And yeah, there's a lot of different things you could say. There was, you know, there's any sort, you got their closer in the game, you got to see him a little bit, but at the same time, that could have happened sooner. And just, you got to make plays. You have to be a competitor. You got to get shifts out. Now, that being said, like, these guys happen, right? And we lost the game, but we're gonna come out tomorrow ready to go.
For Darden in particular, what went into this decision to pull him, and then also, what do you think went wrong in that third for him in particular after the first two looked so good for him?
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, a couple guys on, and then you load the bases with nobody out. Just, you know, that guy hit him hard the first time through the order, and we didn't necessarily want them to see him twice. Like, that top of the order really, really hit him coming in. And, you know, again, Gavin has been, and he still is, he's going to be a guy that gets the ball, and that's why we went to him.
You used a lot of arms today, but kept those pitch counts low. What's kind of the status of the pitching staff moving on to the rest of the series?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's available, ready to go. I mean, even I don't know what Darden. 31. So yeah, he won't be down for the weekend. Lions not down, and no one that threw. I mean, Hunter Bond 46. We'll see on him, but everyone else, Vincent, Powell, I mean, we're at the end of the year. Guys are gonna have to pitch and have to throw. So Hunter did a good job coming in. Vincent did it. So.
Austin had
and Bond did well too. I mean, he kind of kept it in a decent spot.
Austin had a pretty interesting looking face mask. How'd y'all create that, and just how you felt like he was out there? I know he got pulled there in the later innings.
Yeah, he was. It was really hard for him to get used to, right? I mean, he's been practicing with it on for the last day or so. So he's got to get used to it. I think it's a little hard to breathe, especially when it's hot and humid like this. And I mean, it was pretty impressive that he was out there. But you kind of, when it's him, ironically, you kind of expect it. So we just got to keep getting him used to that, getting him into the flow of the game.
So
when did
Boston, at what point did it seem like this was going to be possible for him to go out there and play?
As soon as the doctor said he could today, I knew Boston was going to play. Now, this is a bigger issue than just playing baseball. A doctor had to give him the okay. So once they gave him the okay this morning, it was pretty clearly play. He looked, took a ton of ground balls with it on. He did yesterday a little bit too, but he had to add. He has this face mask, but it doesn't. The ball can get through it, so you had to wear the other one under it, and that one's kind of tough. So we got a special one coming for him. So hopefully that makes it better. But those things, he's going to have to get used to how he breathes and moves with that thing on.
6 days removed from fracturing an orbital bone. What does it say about him, just as an individual and as a competitor, to be out there?
I mean, he's one of the toughest, best makeup, best people, teammate. Yeah, I mean, he's as tough as his through the roof, man. He obviously cares at a high level, like a lot of these guys. But yeah, we got guys on the field with broken bones, and he's one of them. So he's, I mean, that's the kind of dude you want in your program for sure. I mean, and that's why he's been playing. That's why he's going to continue to play.
Do you have an idea where you're going to go for starting pitching tomorrow moving forward?
I mean, it's most likely going to be Moss. I can't imagine it's not. I mean, we haven't even got a chance to talk as a coaching staff, but don't hold me to that. But pretty sure. But just want to kind of look at the matchup and everything, and just be 100% sure before we kind of move forward with it.
Nico was listed as a game time decision. How close was he to actually playing?
In the field, no. I mean, he ran today, so we have he got up to 84% according to our stuff. We kind of want to dial that back just a little bit. He was supposed to keep it at 70, but he was fine. He was good. He was available to pinch hit if needed. Just I had to really tell him hey, if he hits and he hits a ground ball to shortstop, he's not running hard, he's going to be out. So I just want him to keep that at 40 or 50%. But I was looking maybe if there's a guy in scoring position. He's been hitting this whole time. He's been hitting good. No issues with that. Definitely looks like he's ahead of schedule. So at the same time, we just got to be smart with him. But he is available to hit at this point, and then every day we'll kind of see how he feels. But he will be smart. If he does hit a ball, the only way he should be around the bases if it's a homer or a double where he can walk into second base.
You've spoken about your team's ability to respond week in and week out, so what gives you confidence that they're going to be able to do so again after dropping a fourth straight series opener?
Yeah, just because we've done it all year. I mean, I got nothing else to go off, right? If you hadn't, then I would feel a little differently about it, but we have. So we've lost game ones and won a ton of series. I'm not exactly sure how many game ones we've actually won this season, so it's all part of it. We're seasoned for it. I mean, I feel good about my club. Obviously, like I said, we got guys with broken bones on the field and guys that care. But caring is one thing. You got to have that. That's an expectation. But you got to play better baseball. And response again. We've seen us respond all year, so I have no other thing to go off of besides the fact that we're going to.
A&M Baseball head coach Michael Earley after the loss last night. He said respond. He's seen them respond all year, and he's right. They have. They've absolutely been fantastic, and they've responded with Aiden Sims. That's the difference in the response right now. They don't have Aiden Sims taking the ball today where he would go 7-1 or 5 2/3 and 2 after the offense had put up 8 in the first 2 innings. That's the problem with response time today. You don't have Aiden Sims kind of leading the response because he'd come out and again, he would do 5-2 or 7-2 and 6-2, something like that. And the offense would be so fired up, they'd put up 8 in the first 3 themselves. It was a group effort response, but one half of that group effort's not there. in the response team. Now, at this point, I can't give you like the logical, analytical data says kind of why. You just need someone to rise up. If Weston Moss is getting the ball, he just has to have an exceptional day. It's not anything he's supposed to do. There's no pitchers that are supposed to be good that Earley can call on. They just have to rise up. They just need to have their best day. You're just asking for the poker one time. Just one time. Just to get through this week and the Mississippi State series. There's not much left in the tank. Yesterday, they used some pitchers that could one time it, like a Cunningham. Nope. Lions' third straight bad start. It's just not happening. No Cedeo last night. Interesting. Because I thought for sure he was going to, they would just stick with piggybacking him. And I'm wondering if they were saving him from the start, knew that he was going to be the game 3 guy. Will he be the first one out on Moss? Is he score dependent? Like if it's 8-0 Mississippi State when it's time to pull Moss, is Cedeo being saved for the game 3 start then? Because they don't have 3 starters. One thing that you have to realize, I realize. There are no right answers. There is no pitching strategy manual to deal with how desperate it kind of is with A&M pitching staff right now. There is no right or wrong. There's 0 options for what Earley can do. He can't make a right decision or wrong decision because he doesn't have any options. He has fresh corn. He has a grand total of 1 pitcher right now on the entire pitching staff that you can throw on an SEC weekend that is 100%, without a doubt, guaranteed money. Right now, with Aiden Sims out, he has 1 pitcher exactly. He can't make a bad decision because there are no right decisions. There's pitchers that might, but there's no pitcher that's guaranteed will. And that's a tough spot to be in. When we come back, Aggie Softball, very shortly now, in an hour and a half, we'll begin the march to Oklahoma City, the College World Series. We're going to set that up. This is the Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. They have free estimates, military and veteran discounts. That's CC Electric. It's the Louis Bellina Show on the Zone.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
The Louis Bellina Show. He loves his Aggies, Astros, and Stars.
Damn straight.
Listen in weekdays 11 to 2 on the Zone.
It is the Louis Bellina Show Friday. Inside the Charles Schwab studio, I am low cost, full service, best of all local. Best of all local, talking about Charles Schwab and how are they local? Mark Sim right here in College Station. Find them online, schwab.com/College Station. Mark Sim, eat here, sleep here, goes to the games here. He's one of us. Charles Schwab and Company, Incorporated. They're a member SIPC. Time now. A listen in Aggie Softball. Trisha Ford, Maya Perez, Candy Powell. They all met with the media yesterday. This is your SEC. I keep saying that. This is your NCAA tournament, College Station preview.
Robert Sesson and Bryan, College Station Eagle. Tricia, after the Oklahoma, you lose the 2 games, you said that, good now instead of 2 weeks from now. Then you go to Auburn, your pitching suffers a little bit.
Yep.
It was the hitting. My point being, when you look back, does your team need a reset? Do you need a reset? What about that situation?
Yeah, I think going back to the OU series, we played some good ball. I think it was just a hard-fought series. I think, we all will say up here that we could have executed in a couple of different areas, and I think that game, switches. But the Auburn game at the SEC conference room was definitely a punch in the face. And so, and that's kind of how the season goes. I do like, we've been punched before, and we've been punched, obviously earlier in the year, and we respond well. And so I think it was just a good gut check. We didn't love it. So I don't know, it's like good in a demented way, I guess, but of just, how short this season really can be if we don't come out and play our game. So, it was nice for them to get a couple days of rest. They hadn't had any rest, and then obviously we practiced a bunch, and we were kind of joking. We haven't practiced like this since January, so it's just good to kind of tune up some things, and from here on out. And they know this that if we don't play well, we're gonna be at home, and we don't want to do that. This group really enjoys being around each other, and they want to continue to play. Yeah.
We'll go back on the left side.
Kay Nagley, TexAgs. For Maya, just how much pride do you take in being so consistent? You were the only D1 player to reach base in every game this season. Just how much pride do you take in that?
I mean, that's always my goal, is to be consistent. It's never really to hit home runs and like all that. People think like I'm a home run hitter, but I don't really consider myself that. I'm more of just a consistent hitter that just does my job in any way I can, whether that's a walk or like getting hit with a pitch or something.
We'll stay on that back row and then go over to Rob.
Kayla with TexAgs. Coach, you've been transparent about last year.
Yep.
How much has it motivated you guys for this upcoming regional? And what has been your message to the team this week with the regional coming up?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the elephant in the room. We've talked about it. I mean, KP and Maya were both here last year, and they know what that felt like. I think we still can feel it, to be honest with you. I don't think we'll ever forget that feeling. So, but at the same time, we also know that we're in control, and that's what's very freeing to me. And you learn from that, and some of your hardest lessons that you learn are the hard ones, right? Like they're the losses, and that's what drives you to hopefully win and succeed. And so I think that we've absolutely learned from it. I think you've seen it this year. I think you've seen them, we've had some bumps and then they fight back. And, so I feel very confident, especially with these two next to me leading us. They have been the faces of our program this whole entire year and have just been very steady. I talk a lot about KP and I feel like the role that she's had this year, she's really stepped up. And I've been really proud of Maya, because Maya, I would say, has been pretty quiet. I think that's just her by nature. She's a kind of a quiet, she's like, oh, Coach Ford. And so, but she's stepped up, she's helped support KP, and I think that's huge. I think when you have two of your best players really leading the charge, and it's not something that I have to do, I go to them a lot. Like KP gets an earful from me, Maya gets an earful from me, and they can wear it. And I think that's really it's been huge. I think from my standpoint, selfishly, because when it's led by them and not me always getting on them, I think it's a very different standard that they've upheld.
We'll go front row on the right side.
Howdy, Coach.
Howdy.
When you look at last year's regional,
yep.
What are some things that you obviously you probably made some changes in developing more pitchers
yep.
to have more bullets in your gun,
Arsenal.
I guess.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what are some things that you can look at from last year's regional that maybe you can tweak or whatever for this year's?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it really, we did some things that they know different in the bullpen this year. I think we trained them differently, we prepared them differently, and I think, them also being here and going through it. So Peters didn't really get to throw. She did, but it was like a couple innings. Lessentine got put in a really tough situation, and so being able to go through it, I think, really changes your perspective on things. And so, Taylor Pennell is a senior, has gone through it, is probably one of the mentally toughest kids. Like, she's focused, ready to go. Kate Munnerlin was also big for us last year in the postseason. So I think for me, it's just been what we did really in the fall and January of addressing what I felt our weakness was when it came to in the circle that, you're hoping that doesn't pop up, ever again. So I think our pitchers are ready for what they're about to face. Yeah. As much as they can be. You go through this conference play too. I mean, if you're not ready, we'll get through it.
We'll stay on this front row to Travis, and then we'll go back to Ken.
Hi, Travis Brown, KBTX. For both players, a year after last year, what's still kind of the feelings that sit with you from the loss last year, and what do you feel like are things that you've changed in approaching this regional?
I just think we've kind of talked about it. From now on, it's balls to the wall. That's kind of been our saying this these past 2 weeks. I think it lingers on us that we went home in regionals. So we don't want to do that. So just kind of making sure, like Coach Ford just said, we're leaving everything on the field each and every game. And we believe if we do that, we're going to be at the World Series this postseason.
We'll go back row on the left.
KP, you as a leadoff hitter, how important do you think striking first is for this team? I know y'all are 28-6 on the season when doing so, but just being in that leadoff role, how do you approach that?
Yeah, I think it's really important for our defense and for our pitchers. I think it puts them in a better position. And, it just gives us confidence as the game goes on. And just that's our goal. We want to score every inning, and it's really important for us to strike first, and just for the confidence level of it, and just for the flow of the game. I think that's important, and keeping the momentum on our side. That's one of the most important things for us.
We'll stay on the back row and then go to Cease.
For both KP and Maya, you guys have been here for 3 years now. How are you guys feeling mentally coming into this regional? KP, especially being a senior, your last year here.
I feel probably the strongest mentally right now. Honestly, just having that hurt the past 2 years, honestly, even my freshman year, her sophomore year, just knowing that we can go out there and just be big and just don't let the moment, though, be too big for us. Just go out there and just play our game that we've been playing since forever.
Yeah, I agree with Maya. Just going out there and playing our game and just doing whatever we can for us to get wins. That's the goal, and just making sure we're executing. I think that's the main thing.
We'll go to Cease on the left side and stay on that row to Scott after.
Before I ask you a question, if I could expound on her question, since it is your last year, your last home, seemingly you gave every ounce for Oklahoma series to me. But so what does it mean to you getting another time at home?
Yeah, it's great. I love playing in front of the 12th man. And it's great to be at home, get to sleep in your own bed. That's one of the main things with recovery after each game. So, but I'm just happy to be here. I'm glad I get to play in front of the 12th man for the last time. And my goal is to just get wins and keep moving on through postseason.
And Tricia, what are you expecting from Connecticut tomorrow?
Yeah, they swing it. I think, they have some good-sized kids that swing hard, and so they played Arkansas, Florida State earlier in the year, and we're scrappy. So I think the target is on us for this first game, and so we have to understand that, and just at the end of the day, we just have to go out and execute our game. And so they're going to punch, but we can sustain punches, and I know that we can sustain punches. I think they have 3 arms that predominantly throw for them. I think that if we go out and execute our game plan, we'll be okay. But I think overall, they're just going to be scrappy. They're going to, they're playing with house money, and so with that means that we have to come out and be focused. And that's a great opportunity for us to come out and play the game and control the game the way we want to control it instead of letting somebody else.
We'll stay on that left side.
Coach, along those lines, how is scouting and preparation changed since you got into this? It seemed now that everything is video and everything, even to specific at bats against pitches, how has that changed? Has it made it easier or harder to prepare, knowing that your opponent has seen pretty much everything your pitching staff and your hitters can do?
Yeah, that it's funny. I think your swings are your swings, and you have to be able to execute it. So I think you have to understand swing paths, and you have to understand what that situation calls for. And so I don't think that part of the game has changed. I think your ability to execute at a high level is really the big difference. And so, when I started off at Fresno State as a head coach, we could get away with things that you can't get away with now. And so the strike zone was drastically different than it is now. And so you have to be able to kind of transition to today's game. And so, I think my prep doesn't really change. I'm pretty psychotic about it. So, I could tell you every swing that they've probably, I watch probably about 100 swings of each batter that we're going to face against. So by, first at bat, second at bat, third at bat, because I want to, just like they're prepared, I want to feel prepared and understand like what they do in certain situations. And, this is maybe a typical bunt situation. Do they bunt? Do they move runners? What about if this kid's on the base? So I think that is good to know from my perspective, because I think I have better information, and with better information, I can make hopefully better decisions.
We'll go to Rob on the right side.
This is for everyone. The SEC is such a grind. Is it fun to play someone that's not wearing an SEC jersey? I obviously you're facing the best,
yep.
In the tournament. But is it nice to just turn the page and kind of have a new season where it's not facing an SEC opponent every game?
Yeah, I think for us, we just try not to play the name game. We want to go out and beat everybody that is in the other dugout. So I think for us, it doesn't really matter. Our goal is to play our game and to execute and to get wins.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is such an opportunity that you can't take for granted, to be able to host at your own, field in front of the 12th man. I hope there's bubbles galore this weekend. And so we just never take that for granted. And so especially KP, like her and I have had some discussions of just like when the lights go on, like KP shines. And so I'm excited to see what that looks like this weekend. It's another opportunity. They know that it's like a new season, and basically it's a double elimination tournament from, each weekend. And, the SEC, though, I think we enjoy it because it prepares you. There's not an arm in the country that these ladies haven't seen. And that's something that we've talked about probably in nausea. That's why KP is giving you that lick. Of just like, there's nothing that they haven't seen. Like, they are prepared, and they know, and most of those games, we shot ourselves in the foot. It wasn't like we felt outmatched. And so when you go into postseason feeling like we can do this, I think that's my job as a coach, right, is to make sure that they understand how good they really are. I mean, KP said it after the OU series. We had a little team meeting, and she's like, we can hang. You know what this series taught us? We hang with anybody, anytime, any place. And that's huge, especially for the team to hear that from KP. Yeah.
We'll stay on the right side to Travis.
Yeah, Coach, what's your favorite part about this time of the year? I know regional play is kind of so different than a lot of stuff. What as you as a coach, makes this time of year so special?
It's the best part. It's what you work so hard the whole entire year for. I mean, this is where your superstars rise to that occasion. You find out who's going to be that person that's going to put the team on their shoulder and go. I feel like I should have grown out of my stupid competitiveness, and I haven't. And so I feel like this is what I get to see them get after it at a high level, and that's why I coach. To see women chase things and chase their dreams, like that's what I want. Like I want them to understand what they're capable of, and this is a life skill, right? Like we talk about it a lot, like go get it, go after it, go take whatever you want to take. Like nothing is given to you, so you go out there and whatever it takes, you go get it. And so I love to see them chasing their dreams, and that's really like this is what we do all year long, is to be in this situation.
We'll go back to Cease on the left side.
Yeah, Matt mentioned you might have ties to one of the assistants. Could you elaborate about that? And does anybody else have any UConn connections?
Oh, Giselle, yes. She started with us at ASU and then transferred out. Yeah, she was a pitcher, yeah.
What's her name?
Giselle, yeah. Yeah, Juarez, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anything else for these three? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
A&M softball head coach Tricia Ford, along with Candy Powell and Maya Perez. I will say one thing. I wish Coach Ford would have walked in like Coach Elko did. In his first year. Remember how Coach Elko didn't want to talk about a year ago? In his first year, where everybody wanted to talk about the failures of the past, and Coach Elko did not give one flying flip. And he's like, the past is the past. I'm like, we're not going to talk about that, because it's all everyone wanted to talk about was past failures. And he just wasn't having any of it. He didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to revel in it. And he didn't want his players talking about it nonstop. And Coach Ford was willing to talk about the failure in the regional a year ago, and the media did not, did not want to let go of, hey, what did you learn from last year? What about last year? Because last year it was one of the greatest failures in the history of Aggie athletics, and it's been addressed so many times. So to set up this regional, hey, let's talk about it for the 1 millionth time over and over and over. I wish Coach Ford would have walked in like Coach Elko and said, hey, guys, we've already talked about that. All we're thinking about this year's regional, so we can drop those questions now. I wish he would have dropped that like Coach Elko did. That's all. When we return, we got to get out of here. We're done with our first hour together. This is the Louis Bellina Show presented by CC Electric on the Zone.
Blending Southern culture with college football. You guys are awesome. Music, sport commentary, and more. It's Marty and McGee.
Marty and McGee.
Saturday mornings from 6 to 9 on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.